Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election that was held on February 25, 2023, and the result controversially announced on March 1st, 2023. And that controversial result was challenged at the presidential election petition courts, where Peter Obi of the Labour Party and Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party challenged the outcome of that election. And the verdict was delivered on September 6, 2023, which validated the election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The petitioners not satisfied, they headed to the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court. Now, Atiku Abubakar, in furtherance of his effort to prove that the certificate from Chicago State University that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu filed with or submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission was forged. He went to Chicago to compel the Chicago State University to release the academic records of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And after several back and forth, after all the effort that President Tinubu made to stop Atiku from getting access to his academic records, including pleading that if the records are released to Atiku Abubakar, it will cause him, Tinubu, severe and irreparable harm. Yet, the judge of the High Court in the Northern District of Illinois, Judge Nancy Maldonado, upheld the order of Judge Jeffrey Gilbert, and insisted that the academic records of Tinubu should be made available to Atiku Abubakar in furtherance of his effort to prove his allegation of forgery against Tinubu. Now the document has been released. Now one of the issues that are being used to get fat, especially by supporters of Tinubu, is the claim that the certificate of Tinubu, which is submitted to INEC and purported it to have come from Chicago State University, was not forged. This is despite the fact that in the deposition by Westberg, Mr. Westberg, the registrar of Chicago State University, he was emphatic when he was asked about the certificate that Tinubu had with INEC. He said the university knows nothing about it. The university did not issue it to him. And in any case, Tinubu did not even apply to have a new certificate. So they don't have any evidence of him applying to get a replacement certificate. Okay? But right now, what is flying everywhere by the supporters of Tinubu and the APC is that Tinubu's certificate, which Atiku Abubakar, based on the records given to him by the university, that it is a forged document. They are claiming that Tinubu supporters are claiming that it was not a forged document. That what happened was that Tinubu got the results from a third party. They make it appear as a third party is free to print any certificate and give out. Now, this third party they are talking about, or third party vendors, is obviously not what Chicago State University. It's not a process that is encouraged by Chicago State University. The Chicago State University do not encourage that process, because you discover that Chicago State University had a provision online for students to make application to get their diploma sent to them. So Chicago State University do not operate, give out a certificate through third party. It is not true. But this lie is being spread everywhere. It's not true. And when I finish this video, when I'm editing this video, I will stick on the wall here the form for the certificate of Chicago State University. The form you have to fill if you want Chicago State University to be sent to you, or for you to collect it by hand, or whichever process you want to carry out. Now, if Tinubu wanted to get a new certificate, that is a very simpler process, a very easier process. In any case, even the universities that use third-party vendors to issue certificates, the third parties don't do it independently. What they do is to collect your data. You give them your data, your school number, your identity card, and everything, and your driver's license, your passport, your correct name in the certificate, the degree you got. Then they will pass it on to the university in question. So the university will now arrange your certificate and send to that third party, who will now transfer it to you. So even if Chicago State University had used third party, that third party cannot give Tinubu certificate without getting authorization from Chicago State University, because it is the Chicago State University that will gather the form, that will collect the request from the third party, and then do the necessary office work and get the certificate and send it to the third party, who will now hand it over to the students that want it that way. But why go through that process when you can go to the Chicago State University and fill the form directly? Because if you go to the website of Chicago State University, you will see a form. You can search for the form, the University of Chicago Diploma Replacement Order or form. Like I said, I will stick it on this screen, where you have options. You are asked a question, you tick the box to indicate what you want. Like you can tick the option that said, I want my diploma / certificate that is currently on file mailed to me. They stipulated earlier that it is $8 per request. Or you may tick the box, I want to order a replacement diploma certificate. I wish to pick up my replacement diploma certificate. Or you can tick, please mail my replacement diploma certificate. When you do that, you will see a space where you fill your student ID, your name as it appeared on the diploma certificate, the degree, major certificate, then diploma, and mailing address. You put your mailing address, everything will cost you $26.50 plus $8 if you want it to be sent to your address. That's what you are required. So it is a very simple thing that if truly Tinubu wanted to get the real his authentic result from Chicago State University, he ought to have followed this process instead of this issue of that it was he used a third party. And Tinubu himself had never said that he used a third party. It was rain or mockery there. Rain or mockery, all these other people that are spreading all this issue of third party, telling us in America they don't issue certificates, what they use third party. Really? If they use third party, why didn't Tinubu make this claim all this while? Because if you recall, and I will put the newspaper on this wall too. I'll put that newspaper report on this. Now, in August, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu admitted errors on his Chicago State University certificate and blamed the clerk of the university for the errors. Now, this information, when it came out that time, it shocked many Nigerians. What is going on? In fact, it was a new twist in the effort by Atiku Abubakar to discover academic information about Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because people were shocked when Tinubu admitted it, that the errors on Chicago State University certificate that was identified by the lawyers of Atiku Abubakar, that it was caused by the clerk of the University of Chicago. I don't know, maybe some of you have forgotten it. That's why I am sticking it also on this wall. So, what is it that changed now that everybody is talking about third party? Because Tinubu was talking about that it was the clerk of the university. He didn't blame the third party. Maybe the third party sent wrong information about him, because maybe if you want to get your certificate through a third party, you fill a form too, which they now pass to your university, that will now process your certificate and send back to you. Tinubu and his lawyers, they never mentioned third party. And they said that it was an unidentified clerk of the university that caused these discrepancies in his certificate. So why didn't they talk about the third party at that time? Because those of us who follow this matter very closely, we know, we can't forget this. Because the lawyers to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while filing their response to Atiku's inquiry, blamed the clerk of the university for the errors in his academic documents and certificate. The Tinubu's lawyers said that an unidentified clerk of the university unfortunately made the error as to the dates the school stated on his recently issued certificate and when he actually graduated, thereby creating the appearance of differences. That's what Tinubu said. giving the impression that he got the certificate directly from the university, perhaps by filling this diploma replacement form that we are talking about. But now, Reno Mokri and all the rest are spreading the information that he got his certificate through third party, that it was not forged. Despite the fact that in the deposition by Mr. Westberg, the registrar of the university, even though he admitted in the deposition that Tinubu was their student, he was admitted, he graduated. But the man said, the certificate with INEC, we know nothing about it. We know nothing about it. I don't know what people are thinking. It's not a rocket science to know that when an issuing authority say they know nothing about a certificate, it means that the certificate was forged. And I saw where Reno Mokure was saying that he will give somebody money who can prove who can show him where Chicago State University, where Chicago State University registrar said that Tinubu's academic certificate with INEC is forged. They don't have to say it like that. The man in the deposition was asked question about the certificate. He said they know nothing about the certificate. They said the man himself, Tinubu, didn't even feel this diploma replacement form. He did not feel it. Go and read the script again, the deposition. He said he didn't feel it. He didn't feel the form in the first place. So you are expecting the Chicago State University to tell you that the document was forged when they say they know nothing about it. Perhaps let me also read for you how the Supreme Court defined forgery, so that some people will get sense about this matter. In the case of Agi versus PDP, the Supreme Court had defined forgery as bringing or presenting or attaching or submitting a document not made by the agency which is purported to have made such a document. In this case, the certificate that Tinubu gave to INEC was purported to be from Chicago State University, and Chicago State University is not from them. This is a classic definition of forgery by the Supreme Court of Nigeria. For those who are still looking for Chicago State University to come and define, Reno Mokre want to see where they mention it. I want to see where in the deposition he said that INEC, the certificate that Tinubu submitted to INEC was forged. You don't have to say that. They ask him, can you authenticate the results that was submitted to INEC? He said, you know nothing about it. It's not from them. That they don't know where he got it. It has been the same sing-song, even at the proceeding before Judge Gilbert. Judge Gilbert has asked Michael Hayes, who was the lawyer of Chicago State University, whether the administrators of the university can swear under oath that the certificate that Tinubu submitted to INEC came from them. They say they can't swear under oath because they don't know where he got it from. So that's a classic rejection, and it fits the definition of the Supreme Court of Nigeria of what forgery is all about in the case of Agi versus the PDP. Like I said, before I digress, the Tinubu had blamed the clerk for the discrepancies in his certificate. He never mentioned anything third party. Throughout the period of the process, Nobody was talking about the third party until they released these academic records. Then it now became part of the defense that originated literally from Reno Mokre and a few other people from online. So it is obvious that this idea of that the certificate that Tinubu submitted to INEC emanated from third party cannot convince any reasonable human being. No reasonable human being will be convinced by that. Because even if you use third party do not operate independently. Anybody then can then open a printing press and just be printing people's certificates. Because third party can't print people's certificate on their own and put any logo they like and then get anybody to sign it. It's not done like that. The school must be involved. And in this case, the school said they know nothing about the certificate that was submitted to INEC. Okay, so you now understand that what they are selling is a bunch of lies about this issue of third party. Because if third party was an issue, the lawyers of Tinubu would have been saying it from the outset in his defense. But they were blaming an unnamed clerk for the discrepancies in his certificate, for the differences in the logo, for the differences in the font size, for the differences in the date of graduation and everything. They say it was the clerk of the university. They blame the clerk of the university for that. But of course, the university now said that they know nothing about it. They know nothing about it. You can see that the university itself acknowledged the certificate that it issued to under subpoena to Michael Enahoreba. Because Michael Enahoreba filled the form. He filled this replacement form and applied to receive Tinubu's certificate. And he was issued the certificate. So all of a sudden, because Atiku has gotten the smoking gun that he was looking for, they are now claiming that they are no longer mentioning the clerk of the University of Chicago, so that she can also be held accountable for her mistake. So since a clerk can create a new logo for a university, create a new font size for a university certificate, get people, sign people's signatures and all that. And people who went to universities are telling us, want the people to believe this kind of story. No reasonable person is buying into that. No reasonable person is buying into that. And Tinubu himself will have to speak out to tell us where he got the certificate. Because that is he is the last man that he's the one to speak. I think Atiku Abubakar has spoken to Nigerians. I think it remains for Tinubu to speak, to say how he came about the certificate he gave to INEC or he submitted to INEC. And in any case, I have googled severally to see the vendors for Chicago State University. I couldn't see list of vendors that Chicago State University use in giving out a certificate. That was why I'm convinced that they don't use that process. But if you check University of Illinois, Chicago, this one is different from Chicago State University. You see that there are vendors that give out their certificates. University of Illinois, Chicago. If you go and you see they have a process of third party getting their certificate, but University of Illinois, Chicago is different from Chicago State University. They are two different universities. And of course, in this Chicago, you also have University of Chicago. So it's not true this message that third party was used to generate certificate for Tinubu. Don't buy into that narrative. It is a recent invention. Because if that were the case, Tinubu would not have been defending the discrepancies in his certificate, would not have been blaming the clerk. In fact, it would have been more easier for him, much more easily understandable to blame the third party vendors. You can now blame them and say, oh, they feeling wrong things for you. You can then blame them. But now you have to blame the university. You are blaming the clerk. Then why are you blaming the clerk if you had used a third party? You ought to have blamed the vendor that did that terrible mistakes on your behalf. But they didn't mention the third party in all their defense before Judge Gilbert. They never mentioned it. They were just blaming the unnamed clerk. And they don't have the courage of their own conviction to also call for that clerk to be sanctioned. The clerk that put a different logo for on their certificate, put different font size, got people that are not supposed to sign for them to sign the certificate. They didn't do that. They didn't try to sue the clerk that did these terrible mistakes. At least to show that, to convince people that they are really upset that their integrity were being questioned because of the mistake of a clerk. So that is the way it is. So as far as I'm concerned, I believe the deposition that was made by Westberg, the registrar, that they know nothing about the certificate with that Tinubu submitted to INEC. That is the same thing that Atiku Abubakar believes. That is at the center of his own litigation. And why I also believe it, because I've also taken my time to study David Hundi's investigation of this matter. And what David Hundi found out was no different from what Atiku had just found out. And in all this period, nobody was talking about third-party vendors until this academic records of Tinubu was now made available to Atiku Abubakar, and it became a bombshell because the information that was revealed there was terrible. Because if it was not terrible, why did Tinubu say that this information will cause him severe and irreparable harm? So don't believe what people are now saying, claiming that there was no smoking gun, there is no, the certificate, what the article has gathered is of no effect. If it was no effect, why did Tinubu say that it will cause him severe and irreparable harm? Of course, it has caused it to him. Even if Tinubu is to go to win in the Supreme Court, in the hearts and minds of Nigerians, they are just looking at him with one kind eye. He may be the president and the commander-in-chief, but he can't win the hearts and minds of Nigerians, especially the hearts and minds of Nigerians that are not among those that have been compromised by Nigeria's record of corruption. Okay, you know Nigeria is the most corrupt country in the world. So tolerance of corruption is high in Nigeria. So that's why even as people are calling for Tinubu to resign based on this, there are many millions that are ready to hit the street to give you the reason why he should not resign. Even though these same people that will enter the street to say that Tinubu should not resign, they are among those that condemned Mesoma for forging JAMB results. But they are very selective in their condemnation. They epitomizes hypocrisy of the highest order. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel and you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you will be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.